Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Igama lami nguNtando Mdletshe, and on this channel siyasifunda iy'ncwadi ebhalwe ngolimi lwethu lwesiZulu bese siza la sizokhuluma ngazo lezo y'ndaba esuke siy'fundile siy'xoxela laba phela abangenaso isikhathi sokufunda iy'ncwadi nalaba futhi abasuke benqena nje ukufunda. Siyaphinda futhi sibuka ama-reality shows ethu ala eMzansi bese siza la sokhuluma ngawo lama shows, senza ama-reviews nama-recaps, siphinde futhi sikhulume na-any other issues avukayo uma ngabe lama shows siwabukele kwi-TV. Listen guys, it gets hot when it comes to the Mselekus family joining Real Housewives of Durban. Listen, I don't know ukuthi umndeni wakamseleku were aware ukuthi how different this particular show is from the show that they do, which is Uthando Nesithembu. I just read an article where abantu were saying ukuthi Mselekus must stop taking over ilokhuzana Real Housewives of Durban. We have had enough of Isithembu from Uthando Nesithembu. We don't want to hear about it on the Real Housewives of Durban. And Mselekus responded, and this is how he responded. He says ukuthi abantu, they must not think ukuthi ukufika kwakhe kwi Real Housewives of Durban was him forcing himself onto the show. Uthi he was invited to the show. Obviously guys, he was invited, Mselekus, because if they're going to shoot a scene, they're not gonna just have somebody just hanging around who was not supposed to be there. They're going to, because Pelama Bezo shoot a show, they do say it's okay, we're going to shoot a scene, we need this cast member and this cast member and this cast member. If you are not cast member, they're going to invite you so we can shoot that scene. So him being on the show, I do agree, I do understand when he says he was invited to the show. It's not like uvele weza njena, so we have to understand that as well. So I do give him that. Kodwa-ke, I think abantu into abakhala ngayo is that every time he appears, everywhere he goes, he talks about ilokhuzana Isithembu. Mina anginayo inkinga kangaka ngokuthi ukhuluma ngesithembu, because vele Mselekus wherever he goes ukhuluma, that's who he is, ukhuluma ngesithembu vele. Mina into enginenkinga ngayo is the fact that uthathe, it's like almost like ufuna ukuthatha a leadership role on a show that is not about him. For an example, let me give you an example. We have met a husband Jojo. And you can see when he's appearing on Real Housewives of Durban, he's a background, almost like a background singer. You know what I mean? He's just there to support his wife. If his wife wants to talk about something, he's listening, he gives advice. He went to that event, Kalondi London, sits on the couch. Whatever joke his wife was telling, he was laughing at the jokes, whether they were funny or not. He was answering only when they were speaking to him. He wasn't taking over. He didn't lead any conversation. Same thing with Londi London's husband. In fact, I wasn't even sure last episode ukhona akekho, because he wasn't saying much. He was just there to support his wife. He's not the real housewife, so he's just there to support his wife. The same with Annie's husband, he did the same. He is there on the show because their wife is a cast member. And I think what makes abantu say Mselekus is taking over, because he comes in, but kube ngathi uye who leads the conversation when it comes to and even if Ulona Khumalo is trying to talk about something else, a conversation hit, because Khumalo that time I was just talking about organizing an event for the ladies, and then he's like, but are they going to want to be around Upuma Esitenjini? He always takes ilokhuzana conversation ayibuyisele esitenjini, and I think that's what abantu ileyo nto ekhalisa abantu. Yena, it's like he is supposed to be a supporting act with Real Housewife of Durban. He's not a lead act, even though he was invited. But he should have, because no husband ka Jojo was invited, no husband ka Annie was invited, no husband ka Londi London was invited, but they were still at the background. Azange baze bafune ukuthi baqame. And I think that's one thing that he's misunderstanding. I do agree with him when he says he was invited. What else should he have done? But I don't think that he should have. I think he should have come there kwi-black tie ahlale abingelele and let his wife lead that conversation, angabi so much involved, angafuni ukuconvince abantu about ilokhuzana isithembu. And I think ukuthi that's what is rubbing abantu the wrong way. Asimzondi Mseleku bakwethu, simbuka njalo kwisithembu. We are even looking forward to season 6 of uthando nesithembu. Enye into futhi ke uMakhumalo uye wa respond. Remember ukuthi they abantu bakhulume kakhulu ngendlu kaMakhumalo. I also did a video to ask ukuthi is it really important ukuthi indlu yakho ibuke kanjani mawuzoba kwi-Real Housewives of Durban? Go and watch that video, guys. And so abantu were talking a lot about indlu kaMakhumalo. On top of that, in the last episode bakhulume ngendaba yeToyota. Mafethu mina ngiphani yona ama-Toyota, nani nama-Toyota emzini wenu? Ngiphani wona ama-Toyota yazi. Abantu bakhola ngokuthi uMakhumalo uMakhumalo benomseleku, they came nge-Toyota. Hi guys, kuba ku-reality TV abantu bakhala. But in the context of the show, guys, vele, kwi-Real Housewives bafethu Toyota. Anginayo njalo mina iToyota bafethu. It's like, I know, because that's what the show is about. It's about the glitz and the glamour. If you're going to drive a car, have you seen these women's cars? So abantu bebekhala ngaloko. So uMakhumalo naye responded. A response kaMakhumalo was that she feels like the reason producers took her was because she is different. She's from the rural areas, and they wanted to show ukuthi umuntu can come from eMzumbe, emakhaya, and make it into a show njenge Real Housewives of Durban. That's how she feels. And she feels ukuthi, she says ukuthi ama properties lawa afensi njengalaba alaba abanye abantu bakwi Real Housewives of Durban don't appeal to her as much. She loves her house and she loves their cars, and they're going to be real on the show. They're going to show their real selves. That is a good response, guys. I think I wouldn't expect anything different from ulokhuzana uMakhumalo. But I do think ukuthi then she doesn't understand the concept of the show. If she's saying she thinks ukuthi the reason bamthathile is because they wanted to show ukuthi umuntu ovela emakhaya can make it into impilo le asekuyona manje, and can make it to a show of Real Housewives of Durban, because I really think that is not the reason that they casted ulokhuzana uMakhumalo, and I think she doesn't see it yet. But I think ukuthi from her position, from where she's standing, that's the answer that she could give. Listen, abantu are not having an issue with the fact that indlu yakaMalona is eMzumbe, because you could have a property efanayo neka Sorisha, for an example, eMzumbe. Nobody stops you to have that house elokhuzana eMzumbe. I don't think people really have a problem with that. But I think because each show usually it combines in terms of ilona interior design and all of the stuff, and it doesn't seem like her house has that. That is the issue that people are having. It's not ukuthi owasemakhaya. That's not the issue that they have. But she feels ukuthi ama producers abefuna ukukhombisa that side of the show ukuthi and they can have someone different coming to the show. Maybe that's one of the reasons. But I also think ukuthi they brought her in because they knew ukuthi there was going to be drama with her and ulokhuzana and with uLachonco. Here's the thing that I'm having an issue with when it comes to uMakhumalo and being on Real Housewives. Woo, guys, basikutshani la ngaphandle of Real Housewives of Durban. My issue is that uMakhumalo mayifika kwi-show, when she was asked why did she join Real Housewives of Durban, she said abantu, when they look at her, when they meet her, they always associate her with her marriage with this temple, with Ubaba Mselekus, and she wants to do something where she can be an individual and people can understand her as an individual, because she does have a life away from Isitembu, away from Ubaba Mselekus, away from the sister wives. Okay, and I was like, okay, this show we are going to meet the real Makhumalo. But every opportunity that we have, that she has had to introduce herself to us, she has referred herself to her marriage. It's almost like she is struggling more than us to separate herself from her marriage. Because, for an example, they asked her, how is her relationship with Uda Chongo? What are the reasons that they're not getting along? You know how she answered? She said she thinks one of the reasons is because of the kind of marriage that she's in. It's nothing about being an individual. She comes to the black tie event with her husband. What does she talk about? Her marriage. You know, you went on the show because you wanted us to see you as an individual, but you are not presenting yourself as an individual to us as viewers. So it's hard for us to see you separate from your marriage when all that you do and talk about is your marriage. I really think she's struggling in that sense. I think she did have an idea yokuthi ufuna ukuzi-introduce her as an individual, but I think so far she's struggling with that. And I think for us as viewers, nathi kunzima ukuthi simbone as someone who is an individual and as someone and not associate her with her marriage, because that's all that she talks about and that's all that she does. But that's how she responded to that. I don't feel like, I'm hoping which is not as affected by the comments that people are making, because yo guys, it's just going on and on and on as far as her joining the show. Because sometimes you can think people are strong. People always say, but Uma Khumalo is a strong person. But guys, it's like going on and on and on. Comments are on everything about them, everything about Uma Khumalo and Mselekus. So I'm hoping ukuthi it doesn't affect her, because as much as we're having fun Tina talking about it, it can turn into cyberbullying in the way. So I hope it doesn't turn into that, and I hope it doesn't affect her as much. Kodwa nje futhi naye, I want her to come out a little bit more by herself and do stuff by herself without her husband. And I want her to talk more about herself on things that do not relate to her marriage. Anyway, guys, that's all that I wanted to talk about today. I do not think that wrong ukuthi kube nomseleko on the show, but I don't want to hear about isithembu all the time. Kodwa-ke maybe khona abantu abafuna ukuzwa ngesithembu all the time. So please like the video before niphume kuyona, and share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Ngithanda kakhulu.